Hello, peoples. This is Good Natured Kitty back for another Thursday. This week I've been doing a lot of reflecting on where I'm wanting to go with everything that I'm doing, what I want to do with my life. Um, Kind of something that my sister told me brought this idea up to think about it. Um, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I'm gonna be getting a little extra money. So, like, I always, whenever I get opportunities like that, which is very, very rarely, I always want to reflect on what's going to be the best way to go about utilizing it in a way that feels like investing. And so I was going back and forth on do would I want to maybe look into getting some property and putting a down payment on it, or would I want to go back to college and all sorts of things. And in the meantime, here I've been praying about it, and some things, some events kind of came to happen, which kind of led me down a path um, to a decision. And each time, like, it was a different path each time. And each time I thought I came to the decision, and then something else would happen, which would be bring me to other conclusions. And it was actually funny how I came to my decision because it wasn't even someone saying, well, maybe you should go this route. It was more like I woke up that morning, I'm like, I want to do this sort of thing. Okay, so to explain it better, um, so after praying and everything, I'm thinking about it. Um, on Friday, I went to game night and I got to talking with one of the people at the game, and you come across all sorts of criticism when you talk about things like becoming an artist. You come across constructive criticism like, well, I think that's great, and I've seen your art, and it's really good. One thing I would work on is this and this and this, and that's always good. I always love that sort of criticism. You don't hear it enough, and I oh, welcome it with arms wide open because it's really good to hear. And then you get people who are like, you and so many other artists is honestly, do you really want to try that? Your chances of succeeding are very slim. And I hate that because you that also seems to be something you hear a lot, and people, they get so worried about, like, or they get so oriented towards, I got to make money, 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 money sort of thing, and they put their dreams aside, and then they end up just trying to be a responsible adult and just concentrate on holding down job and everything. And when they hear people talk about doing something crazy like trying to become an artist, they just they dismiss that person because that, I guess, maybe that's something they had to do at some point. Um, I don't mind it as much if they were to say, for example, say, okay, are you intending to just quit your job and do it? Because what I would do is I'd have a part-time job at least, so that way you're getting in an income while you're drawing. That's fine. Something like that, I don't mind because I'm not gonna quit my job and just start drawing to begin with. I never said I would. Um, but when they're just completely dismissive and like, yeah, I wouldn't sort of thing, it's like, oh, are you kidding me? And then you get those who are like, well, I'd have a backup plan. That's more something you hear when you're coming out of school, and that's what threw me off from becoming an artist anyway. Um, is people who would say, oh, I'd have another plan on hand. I would try something different because there's not a lot of chance that you might survive, and then you can try it, work at it after you have that plan in motion. You know, they used to say a lot of that to me, and I'd also even hear it from like shows I'd watch. I'd watch shows where people would say, "Oh, I'm gonna go be a famous rock star," and their parents would be like, "I would go to college first and it kind of somehow like along the line it kind of drills into your mind that you have to have a backup plan. You have to go to college first, which you know I tried going to college after high school and it was to be a teacher because I wanted a backup plan and that didn't work. But anyway, getting off of that, and back to what I was talking about. So here I was talking to him and he's like, it's really hard to become an artist and all this stuff. And he starts talking about the factory jobs that we have up here. And then he starts saying, and I start saying, for so long I've worked under other people. And I'm so sick of like being told when to come to work and to do this and that and just having to do things that I'm not passionate about and working under other people my whole life. He's like, "Well, you could always work for Amazon and they you can work from home with that and all this stuff." And I'm like, and I just so then I get home and I'm kind of brooding about it and then I stop and I think, "Okay, you know, it's obvious that I'm going to continue to hear these things over and over, and I could actually maybe use it as fuel to show people that even if they go off and say, well, it's so hard to become an artist, I can show them that this is something that I can accomplish. So then that actually, hearing that, instead of discouraging me, it actually gave me fuel to really, really want to concentrate on the idea of becoming an artist. So at that point, I was thinking, okay, I am going to just work towards becoming an artist, and I'll use the money coming in to, pay off some of the debt and put some aside to do a down payment on a piece of property so Lucas and I could have our own place finally. And, other things that were encouraging me at that point was, my neighbor still getting robbed from, and I'm we're almost certain it's the people upstairs who's doing it, and I'm thinking I should get out of this place before they start pulling stuff like that on our apartment and just stuff like that. And I so I was kind of at a point where I was like, I'm gonna be an artist sort of thing. And then I have a supervisor that I just got recently because basically we trade off on supervisors um at my workplace. Like we have teams and like we do shift bids and then get pulled into the teams that have the closest hours to the shift that we got and stuff. And well, we had a new supervisor come to the floor, so we did a shift bid so she could have some teammates, and I ended up on her team. Well, she's this free spirited sort of person who she'll wear kind of free flowing clothes, almost like Hindu style clothes, and she shaves her head, and she loves art, and she's just real really into the whole free spirit gypsy sort of thing. And she got to thinking when she became supervisor, I don't want to do this. My whole goal is to go and explore the country and do my art on the side. And she didn't want to wait until she got all attached to us and make it harder for her to leave. So she decided to put in a notice, and it was more of a week notice than 2 weeks. And I was shocked to hear about this, and because it's such a short notice. And I was also like really thrilled for her because I thought, that'd be so fun. Just she has a trailer she's gonna be carrying everywhere, and it's like just letting go of everything, um, and taking up your vehicle and just going on the road and creating and learning about different areas. That would be so exciting. And I was I was so thrilled for her, and that too drove me to, I need to do what I want to do. And that was like just crazy cool to hear about. And so for the longest time during this week I was thinking, okay, I'm definitely gonna become an artist. And then, on Monday I talked to her and asked her about the fact that she's gonna be leaving. She confirmed it, and she said that, and she was telling me like how she, like doesn't want to be tied down and stuff, and get all attached to us and then not want to leave. She just needs to go and do it. And I told her how I want to be an artist, and she's like, I think you should do it. It'd be so cool and stuff, and don't sell yourself short and stuff like that. And those are good things to hear as well. It's kind of like people giving you affirmations, and that's always good because that's something you don't always get a lot of as well, and it's so encouraging to hear. And well, what's funny is I went to sleep that night thinking, okay, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to get some property. We're going to live in our own home together. I'll still work part time and I'll do art on the side. And I was pretty sure that was going to stay my clear idea. I was set on it. And for some reason, I woke up that next morning and I had this strange desire to look online for another idea that I've often juggled through my mind off and on, and that was to become an art therapist. And I just had this urge to research some things on it, like how do you become an art therapist and what sort of degrees or bachelor degrees to be more exact can you get um, before going in to work on your master's for art therapy, because basically how it works is you get a bachelor's in something um, tied in with psychology. Like you can do a bachelor's in psychology, or you could do something similar to it. And originally moving up here, I was thinking that I might try for a bachelor's in sociology because I was doing human service when I was in um, Kalispell, but they don't have any sort of degrees for that here where I'm living. Sociology or psychology would be my two choices. And I was trying to determine if that would be something that I could try as for sociology, but just doing all this research, and I sat there thinking, this is kind of funny. I'm just completely doing a 180 after being so convinced that I'm going to be a freelance artist and I'm going to be free from jobs. And like, part of me was cringing thinking, I'm not exactly going to be free to do what I want if I do this, because I will have set hours, I'll have clients and all this stuff, and I'll have to do hours based on like what hours work for them and stuff like that. And I I guess I don't know. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like kind of torn between the two. And then what happened is that day I went to work after like clicking into that stuff, and my mind was still racing between the two, trying to figure out what exactly do I want to do, because I don't seem really that sure. And then we went to a meeting, which would be our last meeting with our supervisor, because we get weekly meetings at our workplace where we discuss like our stats and how we're doing, what we need to work on, and our supervisor will answer questions as we ask him and stuff. Since we were number one as a team at the time being, and since it was gonna be our supervisor's last meeting with us, we got to have a little bit of an extra long meeting, and we even got to have pizza, which I did have one slice, even though it's not vegan or gluten free or anything. Um, which I'm not vegan, but I don't eat dairy products normally. Anyway, I love myself one piece, and we went around and we each got to talk about if we money was no object and we could do whatever we want, what would we do? And I kept like throwing things through my head, and the art therapy thing kept sticking. Like, if money was no object, I could easily get that art therapy degree. I wouldn't have to worry about school loans or anything. And it'd be kind of fun to help people with mental illnesses to work through them by learning to communicate through art. And I thought that would be fun. And, I'd still want to explore the world and I'd still want to have a house by the lake, which is a huge dream of mine as well. And so they came around to me, and that's just what I said is I want to be an art therapist. I want a house by a lake and I want to travel the world. And that kind of became my decision is that that's what I'm going to work towards at this point. And even if I were to not get as far as being an art therapist, even if I were just to get a degree is in as social work or just psychology, like I do have like a huge passion to do something for people who have mental illness and find a way to help them cope and to not only cope but to thrive in this world because it's so hard to do when you have mental illness. Um, it can be hard to explain even what it's like being in that sort of rut. It's like it can be different with each mental illness for sure, but for me, it was like I had this person inside of me that I couldn't trust, and she'd come out and she'd make me feel miserable, but it wasn't me. It didn't feel like me. It just felt like someone more heavy. And, like this heavy person inside of me didn't like me, um, felt that I should be miserable and punished and that no one could really love me and all this stuff. And because I kept thinking the real me is a happy go lucky person. Real me loves color and life and stuff like that. And this person inside me just wants me to be miserable, sort of thing. So it's like a constant struggle of trying to deal with this person inside of me. And it's kind of like the mental illness just felt like another individual in me. And I'm not split personality or anything. It's not so much that. It's just that, in all honesty, being so depressed and being so down on myself really isn't who I am, but it kind of takes over my persona because I've had that struggle of having that inside of me for so long. And at times I can push it aside and be really happy and sweet and loving and, just really want to live life and have fun. And then when this depression or any of the other things that go on with me, the PTSD even, um, when it kind of takes over, that person who wants to thrive and live a colorful and fun life and be encouraging and stuff, it's so much harder to pull her out and like, you know, it's so much harder to be her because all of a sudden this person who's just not me is taking over and wanting to rule my decisions and everything, and I have to try to push through not to let it rule my decisions. Um, but anyway, um, I'm I know like it's as I said, it's different with each person with mental illnesses, and each one's gonna feel differently. But one thing I've discovered with time is art, like being able to paint and draw during the hardships was extremely helpful in helping myself to express how I was feeling and to just form it in a way that words cannot form it. Um, Listening to music was terribly therapeutic too. There's so many songs out there that just amaze me because they kind of grab at things that I would feel. Um, Music is so terribly expressive and so amazing, like like how it can make you feel connected to someone that you don't even know, somebody who you may never even meet. How you can begin to feel like that bond, and all of a sudden you're not alone. There's somebody putting into words and just conveying things through their voice. Like they can convey such an agony and this beautiful like voice. I don't know. And even sometimes they don't even have to use words. Like you can listen to like some of the music that is nothing but instruments, and somehow it can pull you in and just make you feel like that person was conveying exactly what you're feeling as well. And that's an even more incredible thing because you're not hearing lyrics that you're connecting to. You're hearing the sound of your own feelings, and it's bizarre and amazing all at once. It's incredible. But art, just getting to create, like getting to draw the way I feel. Sometimes I'll even just make like really just scribbles, and just being able to draw that out at the time. It it's so I don't know. It's so much better sometimes than just sitting there trying to describe how I feel. And my words don't always reach whoever I'm describing them to. I've had therapists who don't always get it, even, who assume that they know what I'm going through, but they honestly don't get it. And that's always difficult. So if I can draw something and I can look at it afterwards and be like, that's exactly how I feel. I I got it out there and I can actually connect with it. I always loved that feeling. And when someone could look at it and be like, well, it looks like you weren't feeling so happy in this one, and when they can connect to it too, that can be good. But I don't always show like the work that I do when I'm feeling depressed, so I don't always get that opportunity to see them connect to it. But anyway, yeah, that's where I come to think that art therapy could be such a good thing for people with mental illness, and it has been shown to be really effective. In fact, there's people who you have the worst time trying to explain their feelings, and it has brought them out of their shell. Um, People with autism and PTSD and just all sorts of conditions, it can be very significant. And it's such a new field that um, there isn't necessarily a lot of people who do art therapy. Um, yeah, but anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. The hard part is going to be once I get a bachelor's degree in whatever I discuss with um, the counselor that I'll end up talking to. What do they call them? The guidance counselors at the colleges or whatever. Um, Whatever decision that we talk about and decide would be the best route for me. After getting that degree, it's going to be a matter of figuring out how to go the next step towards the art therapy degree, because it seems that I guess there's some. online ones, but it's not necessarily approved by the Art Therapy Association thing, ATAA, or I forget exactly what they're called at the moment. But what's mostly approved by them is colleges that you have to actually be there and be present and stuff. And there is a couple that are nearby here. One's in near Portland and the other's near Seattle. But I like Twin Falls and or I like being here actually, and I'm not sure how I'd feel about having to leave, but we'll get to that point when it comes. I just need to concentrate on one step at a time at this point. Um, but anyway, um, I didn't really get to talking about where I am with my goals. I've just been talking about where I'm at with what I want to do with my life. So with my goals right now, with the one to do a lot more drawing and stuff, and to maybe eventually get into an art fair. I've actually looked up recently how what sort of art fairs there are, and in the process, I found this sort of club like thing that you can join up here. It's like $35 a year, which when the money comes in, I'll use part of that for that. And they actually send you information for upcoming events. There's one that is coming up in July, but I think I might be a little late to it because they're not giving out information on how to sign up for a booth and or for table, I mean, anymore. They are, it seems like maybe possibly looking for volunteers to help children with art projects in their little thing. 'Cause it's like I think it's called like Arts in the Park or something. Um, I could maybe volunteer for something like that, but we'll see. I don't know. By the time I decide, I'll have all the volunteers I need because they were looking like actually a few days ago. But um, if I can join them, then I can get information for upcoming events, and maybe I can enter into something um that's a few months further out so that I can have time to prepare for it. And it's a question of, am I going to need my own table or are they going to supply one? Um, I won't necessarily be able to set things up on a wall. I don't have that sort of thing. I'll just be having to lay out my artwork on a table, I guess, maybe. um, but it'd be nice to join that club for more reasons than just learn about the events because there's also other benefits to it. I forget what all they are, but I think they might have meetings and stuff where you get to meet other artists in the area or something. And I forget exactly what the group was called, but I did bookmark it. Just there's been so much going through my mind this week, and I really should remember this info, but it's on my computer, so it's all good, right? I'm a dork, but anyway, um, I've been getting back into walking here and there. We were gonna be bike riding this week, my husband and I. We were gonna start bike riding to work, and it hasn't been happening. I don't know. Well, he was gonna get a special knee brace at Walmart, and they didn't have it there. And then we're gonna go to Walgreens, and we never have. So it's like maybe I ought to just start riding my bike alone to work without him. I don't know. There's a part that's just holding me back from doing so. Because I know there's going to be days that it's going to be really hot and I'm going to come back with my rosacea completely broken out. And that'll suck. But I don't know. I might stick to just walking for the time being. Or I might just decide to venture out on my bike on maybe slightly cooler days. Um, as far as my goal to get cleaning done, it's been mostly basic cleaning lately. Um, I wish I could say that I'm doing some real deep cleaning on that kitchen, but this week I've been distracted with my thoughts and haven't been putting quite as much work into it as I'd like. Um, Nothing really major being done with my cleaning, honestly. Just getting basic cleaning done, which is a good thing for me though, because for the longest time I wasn't really keeping up on housework, and now I find myself getting things thrown away after using them. I'm keeping things decluttered in the living room. I'm doing up dishes like I need to do, keeping the litter clean. And that's an improvement. I just need to take the next step up to um, really get in time to really deep clean things once again. Because there for the longest time I was doing those things. It's just right now I'm not. Just getting some of the more basic stuff done. And now I'm going to have to really scrub down the tub because we were having an issue to where it was clogging up. And I tried checking to see if there was hair that I needed to pull out, and I didn't pull anything much, just a little bit, like what you get from a comb, basically, like little strands here and there. And I tried doing the whole coat hanger thing, but I don't know what I'm doing with that, and I kept hitting the walls. I don't know. And in long run, I tried the baking soda and vinegar thing, and that didn't work. So my husband had to get some Drano, and now there's still like all this granular stuff in the tub, and it's gross. So I'll have to get that cleaned today. So the kitchen will be kind of put on hold for the time being, but I'll get back to it for sure. And this week, amongst all my working on my goals and everything, I'll probably be working towards getting into maybe see uh, someone at the college, an advisor sort of thing, to talk about what I'd like to do and see what advice he would give me. Hopefully, it won't be, well, that's a hard thing to work towards because I realize that it probably would be. I looked into some of the prerequisites or some of the things that they expect you to go through and all that stuff, and it doesn't look like it'll be an easy walk in the park exactly, like, but it could be worth it. um, but with the money I'll be getting in, it'll help a lot to go towards tuition and fees and stuff, and I can still apply for scholarships and stuff. Because when I was going to college in Kalispell, I was actually getting mostly A's. I got one C during my whole time there. I got about a year worth of, maybe it was a year and a half. I'm so bad with time. So bad with time these days. Like everything just seems to go by in a whirlwind for me, and I can never be too clear what I did during what year for how long and all that stuff. But anyway, that's about all I'd have to say for now, though. Next week I'll let you know about any more progress with my goals and stuff, and who knows, maybe by then um, I'll be able to tell you more about the art group that I'm thinking about joining, or maybe by then I'll have the money coming in. Basically, it's just kind of an inheritance sort of thing. And maybe I'll be making plans towards college, who knows? But um, whatever the case, I will see you guys next Thursday, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.